Good morning. I hope that you can appreciate a little bit of irony with me because I just realized as I pushed the record button that I've got my Let It Be coffee cup, and today we're going to be talking about the archetype of the warrior. So that's kind of funny, right? The warrior, at least in its obvious incarnation, has almost the opposite energy of Let It Be. So let's just kind of get comfy with the paradox and get going. All right, the warrior archetype. So this is one of those archetypes that I have deeply wished I was, and yet it's not something that comes easily for me. So it's for sure not in my major arcana, but it is probably the one I covet the most. The warrior, when you first think about that word, can invoke the feelings of, or the thoughts and images of maybe warfare. So we think about military, fighters. It's a very masculine sounding archetype. And of course, women have this archetype also. But when we think of the initial images that come in our mind when we think about this, it's very interesting where that goes. I'm trying to decide whether to go into let's go into the shadow first. Okay, let's go into the shadow of the warrior. Now, there's the obvious shadow of the warrior, and this is the one that Carolyn Myss talks about in her work, which is the indifference to suffering. So when the warrior is in its shadow energy, it can be like, you need to toughen up, you need to man up, what's wrong with you, quit crying, right? There's almost a rejection of sensitivity and of emotion. So that's only one little piece to me of the shadow of the warrior. Now, again, I'm going to do my normal disclaimer. This is Archetypes according to Dawni. This is what I have observed in all these years of doing sessions. Oh, wow. Every time I have someone who's got that warrior archetype and they're in the shadow, it looks like these things. Oh, when I'm reading literature and there's the warrior archetype in the shadow, it's these things. And it can be, very multi-layered and complex, which of course is part of the reason that I love diving into it. So as you're listening, think about, is this you or is this somebody that you love? And what has your experience been with this archetype? So the shadow of the warrior can be very aggressive, forceful, overbearing, dominating, domineering. It can be go, fight, push, confrontational, contentious. For those of you who have had a child with this archetype as one of their major ones, it can be quite confronting, especially for the soft mama who just wants everyone to get along, because in the shadow, warriors are not peaceful. They are looking for that fight. They want to, and they're often very physical. This will be the child who is jumping on the furniture and knocking things over and has some anger in there, some anger issues, maybe some oppositional defiance disorder. Is that what that's called? Just pushing against. So you can kind of get the feeling of the shadow of the warrior. A lot of times the villains in our literature, in our movies, have the shadow of the warrior to them. If you think about some of the villains, especially kind of like those badass villains, they're always like looking for a fight. That's the shadow of this archetype. Okay, so there's that whole world. And that has been very rejected, I would say, by the current societal and cultural story. And this even may be what sometimes is pointed out as like toxic masculinity, okay? So we're not going to get political here, but we are going to get cultural. And so we can kind of feel into that one and how much that has been shamed and rejected. And that there has been some energy towards getting rid of the warrior energy altogether, instead of simply bringing that shadow into the light. Because let me tell you, as we talk about this light of the warrior, how desperately it is needed on this planet right now. Whew, the shadow of, the light of the warrior is so beautiful, so beautiful. So the light of the warrior, these are the people that are willing to stand up and protect. Okay, these are our protectors. These are the people who are willing to fight for a cause, who are willing to defend. When a warrior archetype is in the light, they live by the principle of the non-aggression principle, which is we're not going to inflict force on another person, right? You're not going to hurt another person, but you will defend. You will defend yourself and you will defend the innocent. Okay, you will defend those that you are protecting. The light of the warrior, this is the person who will do whatever it takes. This is the person who does not back down when things get hard. They are resilient. They are tough. They are courageous. That's the ultimate word to me for the light of the warrior, courageous. This is the person who's going to stick with you when you're sick. This is the person who is going to stand up for what is right. This is the person who is not going to back down no matter what. There is a will. There is a strong sense of self in the light of the warrior and a strong sense of integrity and what is right and what is good. So you can you feel that? Can you feel into how much that is needed right now? So one of the things that I want to point out today is we want to be very careful about shaming this energy. Yes, let's bring it from the shadow into the light, but we cannot get rid of this. This is too intrinsic to our well-being. Since the beginning of time, there have been warriors in every tribe. And this is such an important part of our society. So I want to just kind of pause for a minute to say, if this is you, if you have this energy and you have been shamed for it, don't let that stop you. Just look at where it's in the shadow and bring it into the light. Where can you go from being aggressive and forceful to being resilient and courageous? Where can you go from, just pushing against the people who love you most and life itself to taking a stand against that which hurts yourself, your soul, your family, and your values? Such a beautiful, beautiful energy when it's brought into the light. I really feel like we need to make more room for this one and that we need to honor this one more. Acknowledge this one more. Okay? So, again, the warrior, very needed, very beautiful archetype. If this is somebody in your life who has this, thank them. Honor them for the protection that they offer and for standing in their power. It makes a really big difference. If you have any questions about this one, give me a little shout out, and I would love to hear your experiences here. May your coffee be strong and your life be blessed. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It really helps these important messages get out there. If you would like more messages and more videos, I have a membership site for every single weekday. Come check it out, coffeewithdawni.com.